April 2025, a month of executions in the United States. The month of April 2025 witnessed a series of executions across the United States, each a stark reminder of the irreversible nature of capital punishment. These cases, spanning from Florida to Texas, expose the complex legal, ethical, and moral questions surrounding the death penalty. Are these acts of justice or state-sanctioned vengeance? Give a like and subscribe. Leave a comment. April 2025 saw multiple states carrying out executions, each case a culmination of years of legal battles and appeals. These executions highlight the ongoing debate about the death penalty's role in the American justice system. The finality of these acts demands a critical examination of their justification. Each execution represents a life extinguished by the state, a decision made after extensive legal proceedings. These cases force us to confront the inherent complexities and moral implications of capital punishment. The details of each case offer a glimpse into the lives of both the victims and the condemned. Michael Tonzi was executed in Florida on April 8, 2025, for the brutal murder of Janet Acosta in 2000. Tonzi's crime involved kidnapping, robbing, and ultimately strangling Acosta, a longtime employee of the Miami Herald. The details of the crime are undeniably horrific. Tonzi's physical condition, described as morbidly obese, became a point of contention in his appeals. His lawyers argued that his health could complicate the lethal injection process, potentially causing undue suffering. These appeals, however, were ultimately rejected by the courts. The execution was carried out via lethal injection. Tonzi's final meal consisted of comfort foods: a pork chop, bacon, a baked potato, corn, soda, ice cream, and a candy bar. This seemingly mundane detail offers a chilling contrast to the gravity of the situation. In his final statement, Tonzi offered an apology to Acosta's family. He also recited a Bible verse, a common practice among those facing execution. These final words provide a glimpse into the condemned man's state of mind in his last moments. Tonzi's crimes extended beyond first-degree murder. He was also convicted of carjacking, kidnapping, and armed robbery. The evidence presented at trial revealed that he bound, gagged, and sexually assaulted Acosta before killing her. This was the third execution in Florida in 2025, underscoring the state's continued use of capital punishment. Julie Andrew, Acosta's sister, attended the execution, seeking closure after decades of grief. Her presence highlights the enduring pain inflicted on victims' families. Michal Mahdi was executed in South Carolina on April 11, 2025, for the 2004 murder of Orangeburg Public Safety Captain James Myers. Mahdi was also convicted of murdering a convenience store clerk in North Carolina, revealing a pattern of violent crime. Mahdi ambushed and killed Captain James Myers, a senseless act of violence that shocked the community. The execution was carried out by firing squad, a method chosen by Mahdi himself. This choice adds another layer of complexity to the case. His final meal included a ribeye steak, mushroom risotto, broccoli, collard greens, and cheesecake. Unlike Tonzi, Mahdi chose not to make a final statement. His silence speaks volumes, leaving his motivations and feelings shrouded in mystery. Mahdi's attorney described the execution as a horrifying act, reflecting the deep divisions surrounding capital punishment. The legal team fought tirelessly to prevent the execution, highlighting the inherent flaws and potential for error in the system. Mahdi confessed to shooting Myers and burning his body, a chilling admission of guilt. Last-minute appeals were rejected by both the U.S. and South Carolina Supreme Courts, sealing his fate. Republican Governor Henry McMaster also denied clemency. South Carolina has now executed 5 inmates since September, demonstrating a renewed commitment to capital punishment. 26 inmates remain on death row in the state, their futures hanging in the balance. Each case represents a potential tragedy. Moises Sandoval Mendoza is scheduled to be executed in Texas on April 23, 2025, for the 2004 murder of Rochelle O'Neal Tollison. Mendoza confessed to a series of heinous acts, including kidnapping, sexually assaulting, stabbing, and burning Tollison's body. The discovery of Tollison's 5-month-old daughter alone at the scene of the crime added another layer of horror to the case. The image of the abandoned infant underscores the devastating impact of violent crime on innocent lives. Mendoza's DNA and witness testimony linked him definitively to the crime. His execution date was set after he exhausted his appeals, marking the end of a long legal process. He is scheduled to be executed by lethal injection. Mendoza confessed to killing Tolleson shortly after his arrest, providing a detailed account of the crime. He will have spent 19 years on death row, a significant portion of his life spent awaiting execution. This raises questions about the psychological impact of prolonged incarceration under such circumstances. James Osgood is scheduled to be executed in Alabama on April 24, 2025, for the 2010 rape and murder of Tracy Lynn Brown. Unusually, Osgood dropped his appeals and actively requested the death penalty. Osgood stated that he believed in an eye for an eye, expressing a desire for retribution. He was convicted of cutting Brown's throat after he and his girlfriend sexually assaulted her. The brutality of the crime is undeniable. The execution is scheduled to be carried out via lethal injection. Osgood wrote a letter to his attorney requesting to complete his sentence, demonstrating a willingness to accept his fate. This unusual request raises questions about his mental state. Osgood was convicted in 2014 and sentenced to death. He told the judge that he was guilty and deserved to die, further reinforcing his acceptance of the death penalty. His statements offer a chilling insight into his mindset. Osgood had a difficult childhood, a factor that some might argue contributed to his violent behavior. His girlfriend pleaded guilty and was sentenced to life in prison, highlighting the different outcomes for those involved in the same crime. The execution authorization by Ivy comes shortly after she granted clemency to another death row inmate. This seemingly contradictory action underscores the complexities and inconsistencies within the clemency process. The executions of Michael Tonzi and Mikal Mahdi, along with the scheduled executions of Moises Sandoval Mendoza and James Osgood, paint a sobering picture of capital punishment in the United States. These cases force us to confront the ethical, legal, and moral dilemmas inherent in the death penalty. Are we truly achieving justice, or simply perpetuating a cycle of violence? The details of each case, from the horrific crimes committed to the final meals and statements of the condemned, offer a glimpse into the human cost of capital punishment. The suffering of the victims' families is undeniable, but the execution of the perpetrators raises profound questions about the role of the state in taking a human life. The death penalty remains a deeply divisive issue, with strong arguments on both sides. Opponents point to the risk of executing innocent people, the disproportionate impact on marginalized communities, and the inherent cruelty of the practice. Supporters argue that it provides justice for victims and deters future crime. Ultimately, the question of whether or not to support the death penalty is a deeply personal one. It requires careful consideration of the evidence, the ethical implications, and the potential consequences. The cases of April 2025 serve as a stark reminder of the finality and complexity of this issue. Take action. Educate yourself further on the death penalty. Research organizations working to abolish or reform capital punishment. Contact your elected officials to voice your opinion on this critical issue. Share this video to spark conversation and raise awareness. Only through informed dialogue and action can we hope to create a more just and equitable society.